What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash. Shout out to the Dragon Riders in the House of the Dragon. We're looking at this thing on Coinbase, the USD pairing, here on the weekly. I think we should really look at the daily. I'm not going to spend too much time on the weekly, but just to kind of take into account the thing that from top to bottom here, we did find resistance at the 618 and we came down, and I do think that we've actually found support on the 382, and this is where I'm going to get away from the weekly, because on the 4-hour you can see here this very nice looking like tweezer bottom, right, on a 4-hour, on a 1-hour, however, whatever time frame you want. Somewhat, on a smaller time frame it's like a double bottom, but on like a larger time frame, like on the daily, you wouldn't even see it. But that's where the 4-hour kind of comes into play there. I do think that this is the low. I think that this is the next low in this series of higher lows that we're experiencing. And I got my bags filled up down here. I didn't get all of them filled. I had 2 orders that weren't filled, but we moved them up and got them filled basically at the same prices that some of the other ones were, because we got a second attempt here. Whenever, on this first one, I had orders at 210, 211, 212, and 213, and whenever it went down here, it went to 211.46, so 2 orders got filled, the other 2 did not. I moved them up to 215 and 214, and they got filled on this next drop here. So I actually have another order that I opened up with a little bit less money, but just a little bit more for the Bitcoin Cash position overall at 216. I am thinking that we might have another move down from here, but what a nice way to end this kind of like downward trend you had in your seemingly neutral RSI that like shifted downwards. You had this beautiful bullish divergence right down here, tweezer bottom, decreasing volume as you're having closing lows going lower. That's all good things to kind of mark an area for a low. And then here on the 4-hour, I think this does leave room for us to have a 4-hour close below here. So again, I have mine set at 216 just because. But if we close below here, this line, then that leaves us open for a higher low in the RSI while having a lower low in the price on a closing basis, and that would be bullish, or yeah, that would be bullish divergence as well to mark the end of this little downward channel we've been in with Bitcoin Cash on the 4-hour. So I really do, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that I think that was the low. Shout out to the Dragon Riders. I don't know if I said that, but shout out to you guys, man. We've been riding the Red Dragon for a little bit now. Not really too much, but I guess overall, let's see. From this recent high to low, that's a 17% drop. That's really not that dramatic for what we've seen in Bitcoin Cash, right? We saw a day that pumped 18%, let alone, a week that's dropped 17. So, this shouldn't be too crazy. Overall, higher low, finding support, just like I said in yesterday's video, guys. We'd probably come below this purple line, and anything that's been around this purple line has been a good buying opportunity, especially below it. So here, perfect buying opportunity. Here, perfect buying opportunity. Here, literally the perfect buying opportunity. And I want, this purple line is the 123 moving average. It's not a secret moving average. You can plug it in yourself. You just go in here, length 123. 123, like in numerology, has significant meanings to it, and I find significance in the charts, a lot of different charts, especially on the daily 123s. You can have significance on the 4-hour, the weekly, whatever, but the daily itself, if you think about it, 123 times 3 is 369. That's very close to what, like, the amount of days in a year. It's very close to that. So I just think 123 in itself is a go-ahead number, but it's also kind of close and symbolic in a sense of being 1/3 of a year's average in days, a little bit more than that. So anyways, not all charts show respect on this, and you don't always get respect, but like here, you just went right through it and then went right back up. You should not think of it as something that, like, anytime it's below, it's a great time to buy, because if you did that here, it would have gone down a lot more. Here was at like 121, and here was all the way down to 92. But just for the circumstances that we're in right now, that seems to be how it's operating. I just really wanted to go in depth there, so that if anybody uses this line and they're like, oh, look, it's below the 123, that must mean it's a good time to buy. Well, I don't think so. I think that we might wick below it again today, maybe, and get a tweezer bottom on the daily as well, potentially. But You know, it might be a higher low scenario, just like another wick to the downside. We could go lower. It is possible we could go lower, you guys. I really do. Again, I feel confident that that is another higher low in this series of higher lows. But the possibility of going down to this 61869, the possibility of going below $200, even down to this 786 and the 886, you know, it's still open. Depending on if we get confirmation of support on this 382 or not. And it's going to be kind of difficult because we've been disrespecting this 382. So we can actually close below this 382 and still potentially find support in this area. Just, you know, I guess we showed more support or more significance. Oh, this is beforehand. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is not the right 382 that I was looking for. The 382... I'm sorry. I mean, that still does, don't get me wrong, everything I said still does come into effect, but the 382 I was thinking of was this one, which it's roughly in the same place, right? 214 here. I think the other one was at 216, right? No, this one was at, yeah, 216. It's just a little bit higher, right? But this one here disrespected it. The reason, okay, so the reason I got confused there, right, but I realized that I was being confused is anchor point here, so all the price afterwards is valid for this fib move. But if we take this fib, the anchor point just formed here, so none of this mattered. And I was like, wait, it's disrespecting the 382, but it was before the anchor formed. So I was like, I'm looking at the wrong fib right there. That's, you know, I was like, wait, this isn't what I was thinking of. It just so happens though that this one's 382 is also in that same area from top to bottom. And again, similar idea. We were disrespecting this area, so if we were to close below it, again, that doesn't mean that things are bad. I would say, truthfully, I would leave open the idea that we go below $200 if we get a day that closes below this low here. If we close below 204.75, so we could go lower than this previous low and still be fine, you know, still have a setup to go up from there. But if we have a day that closes below this, really, even if we have a wick that gets a lower low, unless it's like a really big wick like this, you know, that very much could indicate that we are going lower. So just be aware of that. I think that there are things, you know, on the shorter term time frames that look good. The 4-hour and the 1-hour RSI looks pretty decent. The daily RSI, let's see. Daily RSI did break out of this trend here. I would think that it'd want to go into the oversold zone. I would think that, just like generally speaking, you don't have to. Let's see. Let's see if we can find an example of that. I don't know. Like here, I mean, you broke out of this upward trend. You broke out of it here, and you went to the oversold zone. Here, you broke out of this upward trend. You hit the overbought zone. You broke out of it, and you went to the oversold zone, right? So it's pretty likely that we do. I mean, you can just keep going back in time and find that. I just wonder if there's an example where that doesn't happen. I mean, anything's possible. Nothing has to happen, you know, the way that I'm saying it. But like here, arguably, you had a break of this trend, but you didn't go to the oversold zone. You actually turned around. And if we look at the price here back in April here, you know, you broke out of this ascending trend in your RSI temporarily. You broke out of it here. You didn't go to the oversold zone, and then you continued higher, actually, and then inevitably went to your oversold zone. Maybe something like that is what's upon us. I don't know. The daily RSI does have me the most out of any of these RSIs. It has me the most convinced that we could actually be going lower, just to be fair. But we are in an area, again, that we found support constantly. Generally, I would think that this kind of hugging the purple line does indicate that we would break it too, though. So it's kind of conflicting. The shorter term time frames look bullish. The daily even kind of looks bullish with this bounce, but it just depends. We need confirmation of going up, and it's a really hard zone to get confirmation because it's been very disrespectful. So we could go lower and still be in a good position to bounce up from there. So I don't know. I would really, I go back to that all in all with like the fundamentals here, man. If you get a lower daily close, I would think that would mean that we're going to go to our next significant levels in the Fibonacci scale, which would be 194 to 188, somewhere in there, potentially even lower. I don't think that we'll go lower than this low personally, but I very much don't think that we're going to go below this low. I'd be surprised if we went below this low. I wouldn't be too surprised if we went below this low still. You know, but I am honestly leaning toward the idea that this is the low at the moment. I don't know. I've loaded up on Bitcoin Cash as a result of that thought. You know, I do have one small order open at 216. If we go lower, if we do end up going all the way down to like 185 or something like that, I'm just going to be holding and waiting for the move up. You know, I might buy some down here depending, you know, on how low it goes. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on like what I'm doing too. You know, this isn't financial advice. I'm not giving out financial advice or telling you guys what you should do. I'm just telling you guys what I'm planning on doing. It's my opinion, and I put my money where my mouth is too. I'm not just going to say something and not do it. I'll give advice on coins or stocks and say I think it's going up or going down, and I won't be invested at all. But if I'm going to be talking about buying somewhere, I mean it. Like I'm actually, and I'll let you guys know if I buy and it goes lower. I'll let you know kind of what's going on with my head and what the game plan is from there. But anyways, I don't really have anything else that I need to add. I don't think I do. Weekly RSI looks strong still. Room to go down, just like the daily, man. Room to go down. So strong overall on the weekly though. But you can do a lot of bearish stuff on a weekly time frame and still end up prevailing with a bullish trend. So I don't think we're going lower than this. I think that was the low, but we could in fact go lower than yesterday. Right now, I'm pretty convinced. That that was the low, but it wouldn't take much to deconfirm that, right? It wouldn't take much to get this idea that this tweezer bottom here is the low, that this bullish or this potential bullish divergence on the 4 hour, the bullish divergence on the 1 hour, breaking this like downtrend. There's other things that can take place on a daily time frame that could negate all those bullish effects. And primarily, I would say getting below here, closing below here would be a dagger in the heart. I really think that would indicate we do go below $200. And I know that that's not really fair because it's at 205 basically. That's so close already to 200. But when I say below 200, I don't mean like 199, right? I mean 194 to 188 and potentially lower. So just be aware of that. Anyways, repeated enough of the times. I think that's everything. So if you guys like the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more. I appreciate everybody who leaves thumbs ups and subscribes. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate everyone who watches too. You don't have to hit the thumbs up. You don't have to subscribe to be awesome. But it makes me smile, man. So anyways, have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.